Alright, I've finished using Analyze Eye on all 6 of them. How should we handle this? Kakeke, look at them wordlessly trembling in fear after hearing our name. Karna, please let us have a bit of fun before we sell the goods. You guys, that's enough useless chatter. If you want a reward, do something that merits one, the woman admonished them, interrupting her subordinate's vulgar conversation. As for you adventurers, your luck ran out the moment we set our sights on you. That said, it's no fun if you don't put up a fight, so try your best with whatever measly abilities you've got, alright? Guys. Seize the cargo. Grab the women and kill the men. 5 bandits ran out in front. The 6 in the back remained in hiding, showing no signs of movement. Sarah, would you like to take care of them? They probably won't be able to put up enough of a fight to make it interesting, though. Sure, I don't mind. But just confirming, by take care of, you mean I can. It seems like their band was supposedly wiped out in the eyes of the world, so I can't say for sure whether or not they have bounties on their heads, but they totally look like villains, right? It's probably fine to just kill them. But we do want information. So leave the woman alive. Gotcha. It's been a while since I last got to have some fun. I can't wait. Sarah slammed her erendite-clad fists together, raising a loud clash of metal on metal to pump herself up. Unfortunately, I soon rained on her parade. Oh, right, here's an idea. How about not using erendite for this fight? Try it with your bare fists alone. But why? The difference in strength between you and those guys is already large enough as it is. Using erendite on top of that against a bunch of average Joes who've only learned a trick or two would lead to extremely messy results. Well, if you insist. Sarah looked rather unhappy, having had the wind taken out of her sails right at the start. Her desire to try out her new gear in combat was almost palpable, but this really wasn't the right time for it. I've totally lost all motivation to do this, but there's no helping it, so I guess I'll keep you guys company for a bit, she said, languidly jumping down from the wagon. What, you think you'll be able to handle all 5 of us by yourself? Bawahaha, she said she'll keep us company. Sure, let's do something fun. The bandits shifted their sights to the beautiful woman who suddenly stood before them, squabbling amongst themselves for the credit of beating her. There wasn't a shred of teamwork to be seen between them. How about no? In less than the time it took to blink, Sarah had already closed in on the man who had been spouting those disgusting lines earlier and squarely planted a body blow on him. Her fist sank hard into his torso, causing painful-sounding cracks and snaps to ring out. It wasn't hard to gauge from those sounds how much internal damage he had just taken. The momentum of the punch sent the bandit flying through the air for several meters. Ooh, he landed on his head. That can't be good, right? Oh my, and I thought I had pulled my punch. Guess that was still too much? He died instantly, lass. To think the difference in strength is that extreme. Looks like the bandits can't keep up with Sarah's movements at all. I doubt whether they can even see her. Unable to process what had just happened, the gang stood frozen in shock. At this point, the previously sulky look on Sarah's face had completely cleared away. What's the matter? Didn't everyone look like they were having so much fun just now? You guys wanted to play with me, right? Soft wind, was it? Oh, this girl is a total sadist. You 6 over there, how about it? Sarah looked directly at the 6 bandits who were still in hiding. I didn't even have to tell her their positions. Master, did you write this sentence wrong? Oops, yeah, good catch. This is how it's supposed to be. I turned back to focus on E-File's studies. Hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond. What kind of a joke is this? The scene before my eyes could only be described as the unstoppable rampage of an absolute predator. This woman who we had thought to be nothing more than an easy target mere seconds before was massacring my people right before my eyes. The first one who died was Enz. That woman, who had been standing in front of the wagon, suddenly appeared right in front of him and punched him once in the abdomen. How did that slim frame of hers manage to dish out so much power? By the time I heard the gruesome sound of his bones shattering and internal organs being crushed, he was already flying towards me, his dead, soulless eyes staring right into mine. My other subordinates were as shocked as I was. They all froze in their previously frenzied dash towards what they had thought to be easy prey. Oh my, and I thought I had pulled my punch. Guess that was still too much? That was her pulling her punch? My boys were by no means weak. In fact, they were stronger than the average adventurer. All of them were at least level 25, and if they worked together properly, I knew they had the ability to subdue the party led by Uld, Parth's strongest adventurer, easily enough. Someone who could talk about pulling their punches while dealing with my gang would have to be rank A or, goddess forbid, rank S. What's the matter? Didn't everyone look like they were having so much fun just now? You guys wanted to play with me, right? Soft wind, was it? Said the woman provokingly, with a smile so bewitchingly beautiful that even I almost fell for her. Not only was she completely looking down on us, she had even gone to the trouble of purposefully botching the gang's name. Why you bitch? Guys, how much longer do you plan on standing around like idiots? Forget about capturing her, kill her instead. I snapped my dumbfounded subordinates back to their senses and commanded them to attack. Thinking about it now, it was obviously the wrong call. I never backed down when someone picked a fight with me, and my short-tempered personality had prompted me to do what I always did without a second thought. I should have recognized our difference in strength based on what had happened to Enz, and ordered everyone to scatter and run away. If so, perhaps she might have let us leave with our lives. Perhaps we could have regrouped with the others who were hidden on standby close behind. However, it was too late now. Oh, I guess, murmured the woman after shooting a quick look behind her. Misinterpreting that as an opening, Doyle and Pond resumed their sprint towards her. Both of them were equipped with daggers. These two, who were acknowledged even by the officers of Black Wind for their high agility stats, pulled off the perfect surprise attack with flawless teamwork. Oh? When the woman noticed Doyle and Pond's approach, their daggers were already mere inches away from her neck and heart. Got her. Surely my two underlings had thought the same thing. It didn't take long for us to change our minds, though. Hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond. Thwack. Pond thought it strange that he couldn't feel any feedback from his dominant hand. Normally, this would be the moment when the heavenly feeling of slicing through flesh flooded his brain. This time, however, he wasn't feeling anything. In fact, he couldn't even feel the handle of the poisoned dagger that he was so used to wielding. Hey, this is a pretty well-maintained dagger that you're using. Well, I mean, for a bandit, that is. Inadvertently looking up at the source of that voice, Pond found the woman that he had thought he'd killed nonchalantly holding his own dagger up and evaluating it. Why is she still alive? Her throat should be sliced open and my knife should be buried in her heart. It was only then that the figure of his partner, Doyle, arms snapped and head twisted around at an impossible angle, came into Pond's view. He suddenly understood that in all likelihood, he himself was in the same state. What the hell just happened? With no one to answer his unvoiced question, Pond's consciousness sank into eternal darkness. Hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow. Both Doyle and Pond had been killed. But how? I could not comprehend what had just happened. One moment I was convinced that they'd struck the woman down, but the next, they were the ones lying on the ground, arms and necks completely crushed. Did that mean she had attacked each of them twice within a split second? Held in the woman's hands were Doyle's and Pond's daggers. Perhaps she had not even considered their approach to be an attempt on her life. When did she snatch the daggers? When did she break my two subordinates' arms, and when did she snap their necks? I had not caught a single second of what had happened. By then, my next subordinate was winding up an attack. It was the strong man, Gilder, who was so powerful that he needed only a single hand to swing his solid iron hammer around. In addition, despite being a strong man, he was also fast enough to keep up with Doyle and Pond. All in all, he was an extremely capable member of our fighting force. Taking advantage of the brief moment during which the woman was occupied with the daggers, Gilder lifted his hammer as high as he could before slamming it down with every ounce of strength he could muster. The blow had enough power to shatter armor and pulverize shields. Oh, are we doing a strength competition this time? The hammer, with all its supposed destructive power, was easily stopped by the woman. With nothing more than a single one of her thin, shapely arms, no less. Not that I mind, though. All right, I'll play along. There wasn't a single bead of sweat on her forehead. Ha! Gilder roared at the top of his lungs while pressing the hammer down so hard that his veins were visible on his bulky arms. Even so, the hammer would not budge. I couldn't help but blurt out my surprise. That's impossible. Gilder's strength stat is over 200. Is that so? So this is what a strength of 200 can do, huh? Murmured the woman, who had apparently heard me, in a bored voice. Well, it's about time for me to make a move, I suppose. As she said that, fissures spidered across the surface of Gilder's huge hammer. They spread quickly, cracking loudly as they went. An instant later, the entire weapon crumbled into pieces. The only thing left behind was the woman, who still had her right hand lifted up, and Gilder, who was still holding onto the handle, now reduced to nothing more than a mere stick. As I watched, it slowly slipped from Gilder's grip, after which his huge bulk also crumpled to the ground. With him lying on his side, I could see that his chest had completely caved in. Who could have foreseen such an insane outcome? 4 of my people had died within mere seconds of each other. The only ones left were myself and Euro, my last remaining subordinate. Who are you? An adventurer from Parth, I guess? Why is your answer a question? You've got to be fucking with us. With the situation quickly spiraling out of control, there was only one last thing for me to do. Although this option would reduce the entire wagon to cinders, we were no longer in any position to worry about that. I signaled to the group behind us. That nonchalant look isn't gonna stay on your face any longer. All 6 of the gang members I had ordered to hang back were mages. And they weren't just any mages but specialists in red magic, the most destructive element of all. Within moments, the entire area before me would be bombarded with a squall of rank C red magic spells. It was a pity that we would be losing such valuable spoils, but we had human losses on our side too. I couldn't very well let my men's deaths go unavenged. Commence bombardment. I threw my arm down, signaling for the descent of hell on earth. Quote. How much longer am I supposed to wait? That's strange. I repeated the signal several more times, but no spells came flying from behind. Don't tell me they all left us here to die and ran away by themselves? What's wrong? Ephil, do you know? The woman turned to look at her allies in the wagon. Standing gracefully atop the back was a maid with a bow in her hand. I wonder what indeed. I'm afraid I haven't the faintest idea either, returned the maid in a matter-of-fact tone as she put her bow away. Hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond. For some reason, I'm in better shape than I was before I was sealed away. So, this is the power-up from Summoning's magic supply? Although she had first taken to the task rather reluctantly, she was now in a great mood after what had turned out to be a chance for her to rampage as she pleased. That was a rather nice show back there. If you are interested, I would like to spar with you one of these days. It appeared that she had impressed even Gerard. This was something that I wouldn't ever say out loud, but I had been wondering if a princess who had lived such a sheltered life up until now could actually hold her own in a fight. However, my concerns had clearly been unfounded. Perhaps this is a result of the highly specialized education that her father arranged for her. Seems like she really might be able to put up an even fight against Gerard. Come on, was there any need to cut it that close? But I wasn't cutting it close at all. Sarah tilted her head in puzzlement as I got down from the wagon and approached her. I wasn't talking about you, but the 6 people who had been hiding in the back. You sensed them too, didn't you? I sighed as I jerked a thumb towards the wagon behind me. It wasn't a problem, though, was it? I figured that you and Ephil would easily be able to handle it even if those lackeys shot their magic or bows or whatever. Has the poor driver completely slipped her mind? Gee goodness gracious, to have handled members of Black Wind like they were mere children. Ah. The sight of our middle-aged driver gingerly clambering down from his seat and heading towards us caused Sarah to start as she finally remembered he was there. Well. The point is, Ephil did take care of them all, so all's well that ends well. Please just be more careful next time. While it was true that Ephil did indeed shoot down all of the guys in the back, you're just using that as an excuse, aren't you? The conversation wasn't going to proceed if I kept prodding, though, so I decided to put the matter on the back burner for now. I turned from the increasingly flustered Sarah to the bandits who had been tied up. So, why is the supposedly wiped-out bandit ring Black Wind back in action? Quote. Silence, really? The only 2 survivors, the female leader and one of her thugs, looked like they had no intention of opening their mouths. Boss, let's hand these 2 over to the authorities in Turai. Considering how boldly they attacked us, surely they must have gone after other people before, which means there's a good possibility that there are bounties out for them. I'm on board with that, but first I'd like to extract as much information as possible. Hearing that, the leader laughed scornfully. Well, here's hoping they talk before we have to resort to using force. Ha! Who the hell would talk to Mir? Your names are Karna and Euro, and your levels are 31 and 26. Those are rather high levels for bandits. Why don't you guys just work as normal adventurers? You could have earned a fair bit of money doing so. You bastard, you have Analyze Eye? Bingo. My plan was to slowly expose her personal information little by little. For what it was worth, she also possessed concealment at a rather high rank, but it was meaningless before the superiority of rank S. Exposing someone's personal information without their express permission was considered an extremely insulting thing to do. What should I reveal next? Your age? Your skills? Boss. Do as you please. The woman turned her face away. What a stubborn person. Kelvin, if you find this too annoying, how about I cast a black magic spell on them? You know a good one? Sarah's suggestion had come out of the blue. There's a spell for interrogation? I may not look like it, but I was even better than Victor at magic. Oh, is that so? Then yes, please. Sarah's expression was smug and she looked completely confident. Given how sure of herself she sounded, I figured she might as well have a go. For some reason, though, a small nugget of unease remained in my mind. Many spells in black magic can't be used quickly, but my class is Cursed Pugilist. I wreathe my fist in magic and then punch my opponents. That way, the magic has a 100% chance of hitting. Though admittedly, there's no need to do that against people who are bound up and unable to dodge. Smiling cheerfully, Sarah placed a hand on the male bandit's head. Likely having recalled the scene of his friends being killed in quick succession, he started quivering uncontrollably. The fist that had shattered bones and crushed organs was now grabbing his own head in a claw-like grip. He had every right to be scared. So what's the spell that you're planning on casting? How about one that makes him bleed from every pore in his skin? Won't he die before we get any info from him? Maybe I'd chosen the wrong person for this, after all. Aw man, look at that, the guys started crying. I was joking, of course. Just a joke. Spells that cause bleeding need a while to take full effect. It seems his mouth is pretty tight, so I'm thinking hypnosis will do the trick. Black magic began to emanate from Sarah's hand. It looked exactly like what Victor had done during our fight with him. Wait a moment. Does that mean? Hey, Sarah. Could it be that Victor used black magic in the same way as you? What are you saying? Victor was a cursed pugilist too. Of course he used it any opportunity he got. I'm sure you guys already know this, having fought him personally, but he also fought while wreathing his fist in some black magic spell or other. Which means we would have been finished if we had come into contact with his fists even once? Thank heaven none of us did. I didn't even notice him having used such magic. If I possessed magic detection like Sarah does, I might have been able to deal with it somehow, but there's no point dwelling on all these what-ifs now. Why do you ask? Once again, Sarah looked at me with puzzlement. Never mind, don't worry about it. So, this hypnosis spell. I'll take a wild guess and say that it hypnotizes the target? It makes the target's consciousness go hazy. In the midst of battle, this spell can only cause a target to lose consciousness for a fraction of a second, but if I continue applying it for a prolonged period of time like this. Abruptly, all strength left the man's body. So he's hypnotized now? It transforms into the perfect spell for interrogations. Go on, ask him anything you like. Nice. At first, I was worried about how this would turn out, but it seems like Sarah can really get things done when she puts her mind to it. Sorry for having doubted you. Wake up. A member of Black Wind must not succumb so easily. The woman started raising a ruckus in an attempt to wake up her underling. Despite that, Sarah remained unfazed. Should I gag her? Offered Ephil. Don't worry about it, Sarah replied. Loud noises aren't enough to break the spell. Goddammit, the bandit leader ground her teeth, seemingly trying to glare us to death. Then again, her current circumstances hardly allowed her to do anything else. All right. Let's start the interrogation. Shall we?